Yes, Jacqueline.
So you wear so many hats. You are a lawyer. You do Techstars Zanzibar. You own an agency, Dielite Media Sports. You are also a musician. Do you think it is healthy to pursue or not just is it even sustainable to pursue all this at once?
Yes, that is an interesting question, and I think the first thing I've also I had reached a level where it was not sustainable at some point, but like everything else, you learn how to manage these things once you understand the purpose of each one of those things. What do I mean by this? Like, for instance, I love things that are meant to be challenging. So that's why I am a lawyer and I'm an arts person. I've always been. All three of my brothers were very good at the arts and sciences, but we really suck at math. So that was like our strong suit. We were always very good at. So my dad always knew that we would either end up in the arts and sciences, either as lawyers or journalists and so on. My dad actually thought we'll be journalists, you know. But anyway, that's our profession, right? So everybody has a profession. So I would say that my profession is an attorney, and I love being a lawyer because it's all about strategy, and I also like to read and keep myself updated. So there is no other field that does that more than law and medicine. Hence the term learned brothers, because we have to constantly keep updating our skills as we go. So that's my profession. So that feeds my profession, puts food on the table. You know, I can suit up and go there, but that's not who I am. You know, it's just one of the personas and things we put on to get things done. In addition to that, you must have passions. You must have things that make you get up in the morning. Something that is purpose oriented, something that serves other people, something that will not be overtaken by time and technology. And for us, it was music and sports. You know, if I'm tired of cracking legal codes, I take a break and I go to the studio and do some music, and I come back and my mind is clear and I'm able to do my legal stuff. So we are complex beings. We are made up of aspirations, dreams, fears, the things we're good at. So it's important to know what makes you up. So personally, music and sports are my passions. These are the things that I will go out of my way to do, not only because it fills me with some purpose and passion, but it also makes us part of a larger community. So we are working towards something bigger and beyond ourselves, which is assisting others. So that's why the media and sports company had to happen, because we wanted to be professional athletes, and to be honest, we were not that disciplined. So we needed the right guidance at the time. And I remember my uncle was always insisting, may his soul rest in peace. And I never understood him that well, but he had a point. You know, we were lacking some discipline at the time, and the structure we had did not have that. So that's why we now have the Dielite Media and Sports, because now that we are professionals, we can also help athletes, others, to pursue their passions. So you can see how these two things are interrelated. The same applies for Techstars, right? Techstars is a platform. I'm all about community building, you know. So Techstars is a platform where entrepreneurs get to meet other like-minded people, discuss the common challenges they face, and chart their own path and strategize about the future. Whether it's access to markets, whether it's capacity building, whether it's access to mentors. Because at the end of the day, I do personally believe that we must first learn, and then we earn, and then we serve. That is the cycle that I believe is the right cycle to follow in your life. That you can't just learn, earn for yourself, you also have to serve others. And I believe that if you're able to have those three cycles in your life, you would say you lived a fulfilled life. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I was going to ask you which role bring you the most fulfillment, like, you know, and I think you said music.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, my next question. How do you manage all those roles without burning out? But I'm pretty sure there is burning out. How do you find that?
There is, and that's been the challenge over the last 3-4 years, and I've just started to fully understand that I might have bitten off more than I could chew. So the trick behind all of this is that find people that share your dreams, because at the end of the day, our passions can. That's why I always use the word passion carefully, because you can have passion, but one day you will wake up and you don't have passion. But you know what takes you the extra mile? Discipline. So I would like to use the word passion carefully. A lot of people like to just say, have passion, have passion. It's like, no, sometimes you wake up and you're not in the right mindset, but you still go and do what needs to be done because of discipline. So you need to have the right combination of discipline and passion. So this brings me to getting the right people that are able to do things, that can see the ideas that you want and they're able to bring them to life. So you need to surround yourself with people like that. And while you're also allowing other people to help you, you also need to allow other people the autonomy. You don't want to overmanage people. You need to allow those people around you to also express themselves within that scope that you're helping each other. Because at the end of the day, they have their own character, right? So I don't have to have my employees do something exactly like me. If they can do it differently and it brings something about them, then I would even be happier. Then they would have taken the initiatives themselves to do that. So part of also being a boss, an employer, and managing a team is not just to bark orders. It also means that I have to actually not be I actually have to know how good my team is so that I can use everybody's attributes. Because if I try to micromanage one of my team members, then I won't let them shine. So I also have to have trust to say, hey, I've given them the instructions, and I should trust that they will do it without me asking every 2 seconds, did you do this? Did you do that? Which I'm guilty of sometimes doing, but you're supposed to trust the people you work with so that it goes both ways. At the end of the day, you want your team to work on its own. That's actually what a good team is, where there's less micromanagement and everybody just knows their role. And then we just enjoy having a good time. Because once we're all in sync, for me, that's the high for me, right? The act of working together, the act of creating something that wasn't there, whether it's creating some content and highlighting issues that most people might have overlooked, whether it's hitting that right note in the studio and just making that song sound just a little bit better by adding that little something. It's all about nuances in the creative business, and I love that. That's actually what I live for daily, is creating something from nothing, because that is better than the energy is so amazing, because you're tapping into the energy of the universe. So it's like you're creating something out of nothing. I would say it's even better than sex when you reach that, mind my language. But when you're in the studio and you're trying to record something, it wasn't working, and your producer tells you to put it like this, and then it finally fits. That feeling, there's no feeling like that. It is a unique feeling that only comes with new things have come into existence, and you can't fake that. And for me, that, I would like to have my days filled with moments like that.
Do you think you have enough time to fulfill all your roles?
As I said, the other part of what I'm learning now is learning how to be an effective boss. So what does that mean? For me to be an effective boss, it means that I have to look at I have to read my team. And the boss doesn't mean that I should bark out orders. It also means that my job is to sell the vision to the team until they are sold. That's actually my job. I am the C.E.O. of the vision. That's actually the job of the boss. If you have everybody buying into the vision and the goal, and within those collective goals, the employees are also achieving their own personal goals. They are growing, basically. Once you have that right formula, magic happens. And that's what I'm trying to achieve right now, to bring the right people to the right team. Because it only takes one wrong person to disrupt the right synergies within your entire team. So that's why it's really important to make sure that you're bringing in people with the right. They might be qualified, but they might have a shitty attitude, and they might disrupt the rest of the team. So you might sacrifice the highly skilled employee to have the most hardworking employee, but they're the lowest skilled because they bring the best attitude to the team. So that's how it works. That's the secret. And sometimes as bosses we forget and we want to get things done and we're barking orders. So it's important to walk that thin line carefully, that while you're barking orders, you want people to finish something quickly, but will they finish it quickly in the way it's supposed to be, or you just want them to finish it and move it on? At the end of the day, that's what differentiates ordinary people from the extraordinary people like Steve Jobs.
How do you decide what deserves your focus at that moment? Or do you have a system on it? I mean, your role. You have so many. So how do you decide?
Perfect. So how do I decide on my to-do list when I wake up? So normally, I have the things that I want to achieve as personally on that day, whether it's my meditation, the time I spend with my daughter. Those are personal things that I cannot delegate, right? So those take priority. So I look at what can I do within the day that only I can do, none of the members of my team can do, right? Which one of those things will have the highest impact? So that's what I do. So I look at, okay, if there are several things, what can I delegate? So let's say if there's a big investor coming, then I also have to speak at this event, and I also have to manage the team. I'll have to weigh what will be the most high value of those things and what can I delegate. It's something sort of similar to what General Eisenhower used to use in World War II. He created what they call the Eisenhower matrix, where you label your tasks from important and urgent, important but not urgent, the things you can delegate, and then you color code them into green. So I use that. So then on my to-do list, one of my to-do lists is also to delegate things, and then you have to hire people with the right skill, right? So I could delegate something to my secretary, and she might need me to supervise her so much that there was no point in delegating. I should have either done it myself or delegated to somebody else that was able to do it. So that's how I normally choose what to take, and I also look at what aligns with my overall goals, because a lot of things come. You're invited to this event, you're invited to that event, you're invited to different things that you need to do. So I've also come to learn that you don't have to be everywhere all the time. I've actually learned to also say, hey, that event is amazing. I would love to come take part and share some knowledge, but it might not actually work well into my schedule. So you have to learn to say no. So you want to only have room for the things that matter before you bring in any other additional stuff.
Okay, you also said that being a lawyer is what currently.
Yes, that's my main hat that I wear.
That's what gives the food.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, moving forward, going ahead, do you think you'll be maybe narrowing?
Yes. That's the goal, yeah.
Looking forward to grow in all the directions.
The idea is to grow in all directions, but narrow my own. What do I mean by this? I mean that I want to bring in more members to the team, even partners to the business. That way, the business grows, and I also bring in partners, but I narrow my personal focus to the things that matter most. So I go back to what I said previously. Remember, we learn, we earn, we serve, right? So I've been learning and I've been earning and I'm serving at the moment, but the idea is that I would like to have my businesses managing themselves so well that most of my time is only dedicated to new stuff, which is the music and the filmmaking and managing that area. That's the area that I would like to spend most of my time in moving forward, because the lawyer hat will always be there, so I don't have to stick it onto me all the time. We need all these personas that sometimes it will be this, sometimes it will be the other. Yes.
So, what keeps you motivated when you feel like you're overwhelmed or things are slowing down on any of your ventures? What motivates you to wake up every day and do whatever you're doing, even if things are not moving the way you want?
I try to look at, before, when I used to get stressed out a lot, I had realized something, that I was looking at things the wrong way, right? I used to wake up and look at what can the world give me today. Now that I'm over 35 now, I try to find happiness in what can I do for the world today. So whether it's in my work, it's in my job, or it's in my connection to my family, my daughter, and the rest of my family, because we're here to live a life. So it's actually up to you what meaningful ways you're gonna live that life. You could use it complaining about stuff, or you could take part in life. Remember, life is not conspiring against you. That's what I thought when I had that negative mindset of like, okay, what will the world has to offer me today? But when you have the opposite mindset, you wake up full and you see, what can I do in the world? And then you say, hey, I need to call that friend I haven't spoken to in a long time. I need to make time for that hobby that I've always wanted. You will find that by doing that, there is more joy than chasing things. And this is something that I wished I had learned when I was 25. But everything happens in the right time, I believe. I remember one of Rumi's quotes. It says, when the student is ready, the teacher arrives. So I'm ready.
Okay, so this is the last. What advice do you have for someone who really want to pursue so many passions, but he or she feels like she has to choose one, but maybe that is not right, so she has to choose one? What advice would you give? Having you as someone who's so...
Yeah, find out the first thing I always say is that goes back to what I was saying. Don't look at what the world can do for you. Look at what am I most good at. It's the same thing that I'll give you an example that, like when you and I would be doing these reels, we just started doing random things in the beginning, and while we were doing it, I was able to start learning, hey, this is actually my strong suit when I'm speaking about this topic or when I am in this element. So once you know yourself, you're able to choose the right things. So I always say that personal awareness is the first thing. Once you know yourself and you know what moves you, you don't need to choose, should I leave this, should I leave that? Your energies will tell you. You know what I mean? Your energies will tell you. You actually don't even need to ask that question. Once you're fully aware and you know what your strengths are, what you're good at, because there's no point of putting yourself in a tough situation where you're not going to excel. You know you're not going to excel. You could put yourself in that situation just to test yourself, but if you're not comfortable, there's no point of being there. Always chew what you can have. And the second piece of advice I would say, break it down into simple tasks. Because sometimes dreams can be scary, even for the dreamer themselves. So it's important to break it down into the most simplest things. Like, what can you do now? So let's say your dream is to be a professional artist. You're not going to become a professional artist overnight. You're going to have to see, what do I need to do today? Do I buy equipment? How can you buy equipment when you haven't even practiced and performed and seen where you stand? So maybe that's where you need to start. So once you know where you stand today, there is always work for tomorrow. You know what I mean? So this is how I try to manage all these dreams without being overwhelmed, because sometimes it can become overwhelming. You know, I might start thinking of content I want to do a month from now, but don't let that stress you. What do you need to do right now to improve your life today? It could be a simple thing as cleaning your room. You know what I mean? Or organizing your life in your head. Maybe there are people stressing you out in your head and you haven't put some thought into them. Maybe it's time to think and say, do I need this person? Maybe I need to make the decision of cutting them off or moving back. But it starts with personal awareness. The mistake you don't want to do is you don't know your personal awareness, and then you start looking for things externally to try and cover that hole, that gap you have inside. That is the wrong thing, because by doing that, you will just be chasing things, external things, to try and cover for something that is lacking internally. You know what I mean? And that is a place you don't want to be. I've been there before. You know, you don't want to do that. Know yourself, because when you know yourself, you will know what energies you need. I know when you know that right now I actually need to go to the studio because I am burnt out. I need creative energies to fill my cup back up. Then I go back to work, I get depleted. I know that, hey, right now I need to go to the gym because the energies are low. Know yourself, personal awareness. Remember, better awareness means that you will make better decisions. And better decisions means that there will be better outcomes. And following that rule, success is inevitable without worrying about the outcome.
Okay.